Thank you, Gloria. Really nice to be here. I had some technical difficulties at the start of the meeting, and I'm really glad we've resolved those now. Just thumbs up if you can hear me. That's good. Thank you. Great to be here. My first time presenting to the mining club, and really appreciate the opportunity to share the Dante project. And thanks for the wonderful introduction, Gloria. Now I'm hoping you can see the screen share that I've got here with my presentation up. Thanks. Thank you, Stewart. So we are Terra Metals, and we're focused really essentially 100% on our Dante project in the West Musgrave province of West Australia. And the reason I love the area so much is because it contains a big layered intrusion or many layered intrusions. But one of the most exciting layered intrusions in the West Musgrave is called the Jemison layered intrusion. And you can see it here in green on the geology map that I've got presented up on the screen. And you can see our tenement portfolio has encapsulated a large amount of that green rock unit. The Jemison layered intrusion is very similar to the Bushveld province in South Africa. The Bushveld province is a region, probably one of the longest running and most profitable mining jurisdictions in the world, with over 100 years of ongoing mining production of a combination of platinum, gold, palladium, copper, nickel, vanadium, and titanium. And what is produced in these types of layered intrusions, if you think about them like a sandwich, and every now and again you get a layer in that sandwich which is full of metal, and they tend to be extremely rich. And when you find them, they're like a coal seam, and they go for a very long time. They're stratiform. They have a long horizontal and lateral extensive distance, so they may be a few meters thick, but they may extend for multiple square kilometers in scale. And what that means is that when you find them, you can target them very easily, predict where they're going to be, and you can have a very extensive mining operation. Typically in the Bushveld, those reef layers, and the Bushveld's most famous for its PGM, platinum, palladium, gold deposits. One of the more recent well-known deposits would be the Plat Reef deposit, which is a combination of platinum, palladium, gold, and nickel and copper. And that's about 600 meters beneath the surface. Ivanhoe Mines are in the process of developing that at the moment. But what we have at Dante is different in that the layered intrusion is the mineralized layers are outcropping, sticking out of the ground. They're not under hundreds of meters of cover. You can map them, you can sample them, and we're drilling them from surface. So this is a little bit dated now. It's not from long ago, but the company, the share price has moved quite a bit since this point. We have a very strong cash balance. We currently have 3 drill rigs drilling at the Dante project. We've defined our maiden resource of 148 million tons at 1.38% copper equivalent. That contains a large amount of copper, gold, platinum, palladium, titanium, and vanadium. And we're in the process of we've got 2 RC rigs and 1 diamond rig, and we're looking to make new discoveries, testing new targets, and also expanding the existing large resource. You can see here we had a recent strategic investment from Golden Energy and Resources Gear out of Singapore, and also Matt Lattimore. We also have had our longer-term strategic investor in Tribeca Investment Partners, who have been with us for some time. So we have a very strong institutional shareholding. We have a very tight register, very healthy cash balance, and we're actively drilling right now. Multiple rigs, multiple targets, big resource, and big upside. So we're looking to expand that and make new discoveries. So I won't go too much through the board, but you're welcome to go back through this in your own time and come back to me with any questions. But in summary, Dante is a globally significant critical and precious metals discovery, and we've only drill tested about 10% of the strike which is outcropping at surface on this project. We have over 80 kilometers of map strike sticking out of the ground. This initial resource is only, as I said, less than 10% of that, and we expect to see a lot more outcropping strike as we go and map the project. The project is over 1.5 times the size of Singapore, which is where our recent strategic investment came from. So it's a big project. And what we have found is that the project is obviously polymetallic. as many of these reef type layered resources are. But the beautiful thing about it is that the metallurgy is exceptional. We did the metallurgy very quickly. We've got Evan Kirby, who's one of the best metallurgists in the world when it comes to these types of systems. And what we've done is shown that we can extract and concentrate, produce 3 high-grade concentrates with very good recoveries, including a high-grade copper gold platinum concentrate, a very high-grade titanium concentrate, and a very high-grade vanadium concentrate. That titanium concentrate is the best hard rock titanium, highest grade hard rock titanium concentrate in the world, apart from Rio Tinto's Quebec operations. And the vanadium concentrate of 1.81% V2O5 in magnetite is one of the best in the world. And this resource is likely to become one of the largest in the world. So it's a rare scenario where we've got a diversified critical metals portfolio in a single resource, and it's the only resource that in the world that can produce these 3 concentrate products with all of these metals at these grades and recoveries. So it's very unique in that sense. So this is just a snapshot of the project area. You can see in the top right image there, it shows where we are, and you can see we're landlocked by BHP. So we're a junior company. We've got a big tenement holding, and surrounding us is BHP, Rio Tinto, and Cobalt Mining. So surrounded by majors in a very good position. We've got 2 large resources to the south of us, tier 1 resources owned by BHP, the Nebo Babel nickel and copper and PGE deposit, and also the Sakuth copper deposit. And now we also have our own resource, and we expect to be defining more of those across our project very soon. So the amazing thing about this project is that we have only just scratched the surface. And, we planned the initial drill program a year and a half ago without even being to site, just purely off desktop studies. But now we've got the benefit of having spent 2 years on the ground. We've done over 18,000 meters of drilling. We've run 3 different drill programs. We've made a discovery. In 12 months, we've converted that to a resource which contains indicated and inferred, a polymetallic resource of a substantial scale by any global measure. And really, we've only just touched the first 2 targets that we found were the easiest to get to, and we had the most information on. But we're now drilling multiple other targets, and we're in the process of opening up 8 to 12 new targets, each of which have the scale which would either match or exceed the initial maiden resource estimate of 148 million tons. So we don't know if all of the grades of these outcropping reefs and the metal concentrations and range of metals are going to be exactly the same, or if they're going to vary. What we do expect is that they are all mineralized, and we expect to see some variation. And we're looking for that variation because that carries upside. In the Bushveld, you get vanadium, titanium-rich reef layers at the top of the stratigraphy in the layered system, to the top of the sandwich, for a terrible metaphor. And then as you go down, you get the more precious metal bearing and chromite bearing rich layers, and then you get kind of copper and nickel sulfide coming in as well. But what we have in the first 2 discoveries we've made at Reef 1 and Reef 2 is the first time in the world that we've seen the combination of the vanadium and the titanium with the copper, gold, and platinum together. So, but also in the Bushveld, as you go through the system, you get different concentrations. Some layers might have 20 grams per ton platinum. Some layers may have high-grade copper and nickel, and some layers may be very high-grade vanadium and titanium without those copper and precious metals. So because we own the entire intrusion, and every layer in that intrusion is within our tenement, we expect to see variation, and we're looking for that. We want to find where some of these, unusually high-grade precious metal layers are. We want to find where the base metals get higher and test our hypothesis and our theory on that. And we want to see what else is out there. And the only way to do that is to drill. And so we're in the process of opening and drilling as many of these as possible. And the beautiful thing is when you drill a single hole into one of these, because it's like a coal seam, you can make a multi-100 million ton discovery with a single hole, because then once you've tagged it, that you can predict where it's going to be because of the simple stratiform nature and predictability of this type of mineralization which separates it from most mineral styles in the world, which often make those other mineral styles quite complex and difficult to convert to a resource or work out geometry and what's happening. And that image on the right there just shows the outline of the maiden resource at Creus and Reef 2. And then the other red lines show all of the other mapped reefs across that part of the project, which is a very small part of the project. But we believe that almost every magnetic line that you see or lineament you see on that map is likely to be another reef, another mineralized layer, some of which is under a little bit of cover. So this is kind of what they look like. Shallow dipping, outcropping. We hit the mineralization immediately from surface. You can see in the image there the black rock, the chip coming out of the drill rig. It's very heavy, pure metal essentially, and very magnetic, very dense. So it produces a lot of tons because of the density, and it's very easy for us to identify when we're in it. You can see there a 6 meters, an intercept of 6 meters at 0.7% copper, 18.5% titanium, and 0.61% vanadium. So, very good grades across this suite of different metals, and they perform very well metallurgically, very easy to extract and separate into saleable concentrates. This is the maiden resource estimate summary here. You can come back and look at this, but within this slide, you can see the huge amount of different metals that are contained within this. So we wouldn't call this a gold deposit, but we still have 400,000 ounces of gold in this initial resource, which is just such a tiny fragment of the overall potential of the project. We've got 800,000 tons of vanadium contained metal. We've got 270,000 tons of copper, 1.6 million ounces of combined platinum, palladium, and gold, and a huge amount also of titanium there, 22 million tons of titanium. So we expect that to grow substantially, and we're in the process of doing that now. Here's some more detail on the metallurgy. I've kind of gone into this. It is a key point of this. It's a real key factor that separates this asset from many other peer assets in this category. Just the simplicity of separating the metals, the low cost off-the-shelf processing tools that we use to do that, and the grade of those concentrates compared to other single commodity and polymetallic deposits globally in the Bushveld and other regions, including China, where you get these layered systems, these layered intrusions. So we're in the process of doing optimization on the metallurgy now, and we expect to have some updates ongoing on that. And, it's the reefs are one part, but the other key thing on this project is there are a huge amount of electromagnetic EM anomalies across this project. And we think there's big potential for massive sulfide and semi-massive sulfide, base and precious metal mineralization, copper, nickel, platinum, gold type mineralization. So we're testing those targets as well as drilling, discovering, and converting these reefs, which are relatively simple exploration, into resource as well. Our intention is to build a large, globally significant tier 1 global resource base and create growth for the company through new discoveries, excellence in metallurgy, and continuing to prove up the economics on the parts we have found, but 2, to grow those and to add to the resource base through new discovery. So a lot of growth. We're well funded now to deliver that growth, and we are out on the ground right now delivering it. We've got about 35 people on the ground right now, 3 different drilling companies. We'll be drilling for the next 2 months. Results are going to start coming through. There'll be lots of assays on the way, and I would expect a huge amount of news flow, and so also some elements of surprise that we always leave room for over the coming months.